Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you all are having a great week. Today's topic, I wanted to discuss how to run a sub 1 hour 30 half marathon. And it's a fast time. There's a lot of athletes around the world that really want to run under that 1 hour and 30 minute half marathon barrier. And you know, there's so many athletes out there that can run a certain segment of that particular race distance at that goal pace. But it's how do you get the entire distance of the race perfected? What do you need to do to slow down less than your competition? And most importantly, how do you handle that high amount of lactic acid buildup when you're trying to race? And how do you stay relaxed? Over the years, I've spent, and I point this out so many times in other videos, it's so critical to train well below that goal half marathon race pace. For you to run under an hour and 30 minutes, you need to run under 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile, or 4 minutes and 16 seconds per kilometer. So you have to get accustomed to training well below that pace. And granted, you can only spend, and this the same goes for all of us, regardless how fast we're trying to run, whether it's the half marathon, 5K, mile, whatever event, we can only spend a few seconds to a few minutes running at paces that are, say, a minute faster than goal race pace. If you're training for a half marathon and break an hour and 30 minutes, if you're spending sufficient time over a long period of time, preferably a 4-month block of training, and you're spending time training like on the track at paces that are closer to 7:30 to 8-minute mile pace, you can do this. You can do that for certain segments, doing intervals, whether that's repeat 400s, repeat miles on the track, repeat 600s, repeat Ks. It's getting accustomed to running well below 1 hour and 30 minute half marathon pace. That is the key. That is going to, over time, get you to a point where that pace doesn't feel so aggressive. You're not redlining early on in the race. You're able to sustain the pace throughout the race, and not just for a segment of the race. You know, I'm watching the Olympics and seeing how these athletes are holding up in the heat. You know, a lot of times it's the environment. If you're training in Florida, or if you're training in San Antonio, Texas, or in other hot conditions, you're going to be more equipped to be able to race in those conditions. So you have to kind of mimic running at paces and in conditions that you're going to be up against. And the half marathon is a very tough event. You still need a combination of speed and stamina and strength to run well in it. It's not so anaerobic, you know, as opposed to the mile or the 5K or 10K, but you still need to develop that speed. And I always talk about in other videos too, doing strides, getting out and what you know, in terms of doing strides, those are only anywhere from 50 to 100 meters in length, but you can do 5 to 6 100-meter strides several times each week and not build up any significant lactic acid buildup by doing those. And what's great about strides is because you're again focusing on acceleration, which you still need in the half marathon. You need stamina, you need endurance to run a great half marathon, but you also want to continue to work on your speed and your acceleration. All of us only have a certain amount of raw leg speed that we've been gifted with physiologically. The majority of us that run long distance races have a higher percentage of fat or slow twitch muscle fibers as opposed to fast twitch muscle fibers like sprinters have. Some athletes are better suited for the 800 meter to, say, the 5K, where athletes such as myself are better suited for the 10K up to the full marathon distance. So a sub 1 hour 30 half marathon will require a lot out of you. So I always talk about doing longer tempo runs. For a half marathon, you don't necessarily need to do you know, tempo runs that are further than 16 kilometers in length, or really further than 10 miles in length. But if you were training for the marathon distance, I would focus on doing tempo runs that go out toward 15 miles to 16 miles in length. If you're doing short tempo runs, you're still going to get a huge physiological boost from spending time at your anaerobic threshold. That's the point where lactic acid starts to build up. And again, success in the half marathon really comes down to one, persistent, consistent action over a long period of time, and focusing on a proper taper, dropping your volume, dropping your intensity at the right time instead of the wrong time. I think a big mistake athletes that are making, that are trying to run under an hour and 30 minutes, is they start dropping their volume and their intensity 3 weeks out from their main event. Now, every athlete is different, and I won't say that a 3-week taper isn't going to work for a lot of athletes, because for some it does. But I believe in a 10-day taper where you start dropping your volume and intensity 10 days out from your main event, because you continue to remind your legs of what you're training them to do. And then 10 days out, then you start focusing on complete rest, significant drops in your intensity, just kind of maintenance workouts, whether that's repeat 200s on the track, or repeat 400s or 800s on the track with full recovery, because there's not really a lot you can do in the last 10 days leading up into your marathon, because the big bulk of your work has already been accomplished in that 4-month block of training. On RunDreamAchieve.com, I have courses and training plans that are 4 months in length. I also have a sub 1 hour and 30-minute half marathon course that I built specifically for athletes such as yourself who's possibly trying to go under that hour and 30-minute barrier. Long runs. Do not run long, slow, easy distance runs every single weekend if you're trying to run an hour and 30 minutes. You have to get accustomed to varying up the paces of those long runs. That's why in the training plans and courses that I teach, every other weekend is a very paced workout, a very paced long run. So it's not just a nice, easy, steady long run every single weekend. Without question, the long run, when I was training for my half marathons and marathons, was without a doubt the hardest workout I did. And you don't just immediately start doing fast long runs. There's a point where, yes, you have to build that base of easy mileage before you start moving into hard anaerobic training. You have to crawl before you can walk. You have to walk before you can run. So have a plan in place, have a plan of action, plan your work your plan. It's not about working harder all the time. It's about working smarter. It's not about higher volume. It's about what are you putting into those track workouts and in those road sessions? What is the percentage of your weekly volume are you training at closer to your 10K, 5K to 10K race pace, so that you get half marathon and 1 hour and 30 half marathon race pace to feel more sustainable, where you can pick up the pace in that last 5K when your competition is slowing down. So it does. The half marathon is a tough event. I ran 107.06 for the half marathon, and I ran 2:19.35 for the marathon. So I understand how fast a sub 130 half is. I know you can do it. But again, it's about you being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up when you're racing. It's about staying as relaxed as you possibly can. If you look at the best middle to long distance runners, they always look relaxed. So practice that in training. When you're doing your track sessions, or when you're doing your road sessions, you'll notice the first muscle groups usually to tense up is your face and your shoulders. You start tensing up, your shoulders start to rise. Oftentimes it's usually your face. You can consciously tell yourself, stay relaxed, I'm calm, I'm focused, I'm strong. Whatever you need to say while you're out doing those runs. Tempo runs, the point where you're spending long tempo runs on the roads, and it hurts and it's difficult when you don't have somebody to push you when the weather conditions aren't cooperating. That is the time to test yourself. Okay, you're going after a very fast half marathon time. 1:29:59 involves being very physiologically fit, mentally tough, and so you want to challenge yourself in training. You want to make training the most difficult part of the process. Don't make the day of the race, don't let that be the time when you're stressed out and tense. You'll look around you that the morning of the race, you'll see athletes all around you too uptight, too nervous. It's okay to be a little bit nervous, before the start of the race, but if you've done your homework in training, a sub 130 half marathon doesn't have to be something to dread. You're going to be ready to do it, you're going to be motivated to do it, and you have done your homework in training. You've pushed yourself to the max mentally and physically in your preparation, so that when it comes to race day, Race day is your celebration. That's the day where you want to enjoy yourself. Prior to the start of the 2007 California International Marathon in Sacramento, I was joking with my teammate, Emily Potter. She ended up qualifying for the 2008 Olympic trials that morning, and she ran a 2:45 that morning. And so we're just joking on the start line. You know, her and I put in a ton of work. We trained hard in Colorado Springs. I had done numerous hard workouts running well under 450 mile pace, so I knew I was ready to run a marathon under 5 minutes and 25 seconds per mile. I wanted to break 2 hours and 22 minutes that morning. I ended up finishing in 4th place, top American, and running 2:19:35, and hitting the first half marathon only 3 seconds slower than my personal best for the half marathon. My best is 1:07:06. I hit the half in 1:07:09, came back the second half in 1:12:26 to finish 2:19:35. So I'm saying that not to impress you, but to impress upon you the importance of staying as relaxed as you can, be confident, push yourself to the limits in training, mentally and physically. Have a plan, whether that's investing in a course, whether that's investing in a plan. It takes the guesswork out of your preparation when you're preparing for a sub 1 hour and 30-minute half marathon. It's a very, like I said, it's a very fast competitive time. So you want to be on your A game. You want to be mentally tough. You want to be mentally rehearsing yourself, getting across that finish line several times a day, every single day over your 4-month block of training. See yourself with getting across that finish line with 1:29:59 on the clock. The subconscious mind is very, very powerful. So you want to train your mind to do what you want to do before it happens. Thoughts are also very powerful. You know, it's energy. It's what you're telling yourself on a daily basis. So if you're having bad workouts or if you're having bad races leading up into your 1:30 half, it doesn't mean the day of the race you're going to have a bad race. It's what you're telling yourself. If you have a few bad workouts, back off the pace. Give yourself a couple days of recovery so that you can recover from that bad workout. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving yourself a few more hours of recovery before you attack that next hard anaerobic session, whether that's on the roads or on the track. So I hope this video was helpful in terms of your preparation, what you need to be thinking about to break 1 hour and 30 minutes. Again, it's a very difficult but very attainable time for you and for any athletes around the world that are preparing for running 21.1 kilometers or 13.1 miles at 4:16 per kilometer or 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile. So again, spend time during that buildup training well below that goal race pace. Also spend time jogging and giving yourself time to recover from the hard workouts you're doing. And you do that 10-day taper, you start backing off your volume and your intensity, you're gonna go in that race feeling more driven, more motivated, and more excited rather than feeling tired and lethargic leading into your taper phase. So if you have any other questions about the hour and 30 half marathon barrier or the half marathon, the sub 1:30 half marathon course I have on RunDreamAchieve.com or the training plans, feel free to leave me a comment below. Reach out to me anytime. I'm always available to all of you, and I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.